Hello, my name is Troy Browder. I am a photographer, and you are here because you want to become a better photographer. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks so you can get things started. Alright, first things first, whenever you're starting out in photography, you're going to want to know what you want to shoot, whether it be portraits, sports photography, concert photography, weddings, landscapes. It's all up to you and your creativity. So, the basis for starting off photography is find out what you want to shoot. Primarily, I shoot a lot of different things. I don't stick to just weddings. I don't stick to just concerts or just sports or just landscapes. I shoot a very large range of different things because it keeps me interested in photography. If I think I can, go out and find multiple things to photograph, I'm never going to get bored with it, and I'm going to still like it for a long time. The first thing you want to do when getting started in photography is first get a camera, digital SLR. I have two. They're both Canon. This one right here is a Canon Rebel T2i, which I've had for about 5 years now. It's not what I started off with, but it's what I started photography with my second body, I believe. And now I am shooting primarily on a Canon 70D. Whether you want to start off with Nikon or Canon is completely up to you. Don't let somebody pressuring you into getting something that you do not want. So to find out what you want, you can either, one, rent a lens from a company like lensrentals.com or borrowlenses.com, or you can go to Best Buy. They have all the new, latest, greatest cameras and stuff like that on display, so you can actually pick them up, see how heavy they are, see how they shoot, and you can see what feels better in your hand. If you happen to live in New York or somewhere around a cool camera store, you can also go in there and see about holding on to one of those in there to get a feel for them. They'll usually let you test everything out like that. After finding the camera that you want to use, the next thing you're going to do is to invest in some good lenses. I prefer to shoot on Canon L lenses because they can go down to a f-stop of 2.8, which means I can absorb more light. We're going to get more into detail about the f-stops and aperture, as well as shutter speeds and ISO in a later video. But right now, we're just going to start you off with the basics. Here's two examples right now of Canon L lenses. You'll see that my 70-200 is a white lens, which is very distinctable, and it has a red ring around the edge. That right there specifies that it is a Canon L lens with the red ring. This is a telephoto lens, that way I can shoot sports, concerts, and a lot of stuff from farther away that you couldn't use with something like this, which is a 28-70. It's a lot wider lens, but you'll notice also it has a red ring around the edge. That also, like I said, specifies it as a Canon L lens. The L means luxury because they're not cheap by any means. However, they're the best in optics for the Canon cameras. The pictures are going to come out clearer and sharper than if you had a 70-300 or an 18-55, which are normally the lenses that your camera comes with. In my opinion, what I did at least, was I scrapped those lenses, sold them as quick as I could, that way I could save up for these awesome lenses. I've had this Canon 28-70 now for about 4 years, and it has done me wonders. The Canon 70-200, however, I've only had for the past year, and it has definitely upped my game in the sports photography because I need to be able to shoot from far away. One more lens that I have on my arsenal is a Rokinon 8mm fisheye. Actually, you can see it's not a Canon lens and it does not have the red ring around it. This is a really cheap fisheye lens compared to the Canons for about $300, a little bit less, but it gets the job done. It's not nearly as sharp as the Canon would be or able to stop down on light as much as the Canon could be because it is a 3.5 lens. The other downfall of these lenses they're full manual. So I had to change the aperture myself with the aperture ring, and I also had to focus everything manually. Alright, now that you've gotten at least what you need as far as cameras and lenses go, you're going to want to know the difference between shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. I'm not going to go into complete detail of this right now, but you'll see it in a later video. Once you get your camera, you're going to need to know what the modes in the camera are. So we're going to go ahead and go over that right now. Alright, let's get into showing you the different modes. The first mode that you're going to notice whenever you get your camera is the one that most amateurs and new beginners of photography start off with. That would be the auto mode. Basically, the camera is going to do everything for you, shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, as well as if it's too dark, it's going to pop up a flash. As well as the shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, the auto mode also automatically adjusts the color tone and contrast according to the photo or the area that you're in when you're taking the picture. This is why I prefer to never use auto unless you absolutely don't know what you're doing. But the good thing about that is I'm going to teach you how to use it to where you can run everything by yourself, so you won't have to rely on auto. Another common mode that you're going to see is the TV mode, at least on Canons. I'm not that familiar with Nikons, but on Canon it is called TV. This stands for shutter priority, and basically what it's going to do is you're going to adjust the shutter speed to whatever you want, and it's going to automatically choose the aperture for you. That way, if the lighting changes and everything, your shutter speed will stay the same, but your aperture adjusts to bring in the light that's needed to get the photo in the perfect exposure. The next mode that you're going to see is the AV mode, which stands for aperture priority mode. This is the opposite of the shutter priority mode from the TV. Basically, you choose the aperture, whether you want it to be f3.5, f4.0, or f.8, and then it's going to automatically adjust the shutter speed for you. In both of these modes, you're still going to have to control the ISO unless you set your camera to auto ISO, which I would never recommend doing, because the higher ISO that you get, then the grainier your photo will be. Another bad thing about using the aperture priority mode is if it starts to get too dark outside and you don't change your aperture to let more light in, then your shutter speed is going to get a lot slower, which will result in motion blur. In sports photography, this is a no-no. You want to use the fastest shutter speed available because you don't want these people in the photos to be blurry. Some cameras come with this mode. It's called bulb. It'll have a B on it for bulb. And basically, it is whenever you press the button, the shutter will stay open as long as you're holding that button down. What this does is it's actually a slow shutter speed. It's great for things like long exposure photography, astrophotography, and weather photography. Getting lightning photos is extremely hard if you don't know what you're doing, but if you do know how to use your camera in bulb mode, you'll be able to get lightning photos like that. We'll go over this in a later video whenever I go out storm chasing, which I like to do every once in a while, and I'll show you how to get some really awesome photos of lightning. The last mode on the list today is going to be the M mode, which stands for manual. Manual scares a lot of people because you have to control the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO all at the same time. A lot of new beginners of photography refuse to go to this mode because it is so scary, or they can't figure out how to adjust everything to make pictures come out right. I've known people that have been shooting photography for 3 or 4 years, sometimes less, sometimes more, that still don't know how to use the manual mode. In the later videos, I'm going to show you how to control everything in manual. So be able to stick around. If you're watching this, there may be a link right there somewhere. So click on that and it's going to take you over to how to learn manual with me. Those are going to be the basic steps of starting photography. Remember, Find out what you want to shoot, get the camera that you want to get the lenses that you need to get, and 4, most of all, have fun and don't get discouraged. A lot of people get discouraged whenever they think that they're not good enough. You have to realize something, and that is nobody is going to see what you see. It's not about what other people think of your photography, it's about what you saw in the moment and what you captured in the moment. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to putting out more videos really soon, so stay tuned. If you have any questions, comments, please comment down in the bottom, and I will be sure to either respond to you, or I will probably even make a new video shouting you out for the awesome input on the video. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you next time.